28 years later will restore the original movie's key to $85 million success that the sequel didn't have. The news surrounding 28 years later is highly promising, as it embraces the key to 28 Days Later's $85 million success. The original film excelled thanks to the combined efforts of directors Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, as well as Oppenheimer star Cillian Murphy's lead performance. It was a critical and commercial triumph, grossing $84.6 million on an $8 million budget and receiving high audience and critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes. The original horror sci-fi film had a unique aesthetic that separated it from other films in the zombie subgenre. Boyle's use of early digital cameras allowed 28 Days Later to shoot in busy London areas for short bursts of time, helping the film stay under budget. This sacrificed some of the film's video quality. The dip in quality worked in its favor, however, as it fed into the gritty quality of the world. The film's sequel, 28 Weeks Later, was a success in its own right, but it failed to capture the magic of the original. Fortunately, 28 Years Later will capitalize on what made the first film so special. Boyle and Garland are highly recognizable names in Hollywood. Boyle has directed films since the 90s and is most known for Trainspotting and the Academy Award-winning Slumdog Millionaire. Garland, who wrote 28 Years Later and other scripts in the 2000s, began directing his own films in the 2010s. Ex Machina and Annihilation are among his greatest accomplishments. With the combined recognition the two filmmakers share, it's exciting to see both of their names attached to the upcoming project, as neither of them returned for 28 Weeks Later. The directing team already promises to bring back the excitement of 28 Days Later, and it's even more thrilling that Murphy is reprising his role in 28 Years Later. Murphy also did not return for 28 Weeks Later, something that may have worked against the sequel. Murphy has expressed passion about a 28 Days Later sequel. Following the success of Peaky Blinders and Oppenheimer, he's also reached a new career peak, with widespread recognition for his performances. Combining his buzz with the prospect of a great writer-slash-director duo could make 28 Years Later a box office hit. Boyle is recognized as a highly talented director, but he hasn't had a hit in recent years. His latest projects, the miniseries Pistol and Film Yesterday, were both considered below average for a director of his caliber. Garland also had his first directing miss with Men, an A24 film that only brought in $11.2 million at the box office, with a 6.1 score on IMDb. His miniseries Devs was met with critical acclaim, but he hasn't had a successful film project since Annihilation in 2018. 28 Years Later could be an opportunity for both filmmakers to land a massive hit. 28 Days Later didn't just redefine zombie horror, it infected the genre with raw humanity, intimate dread, and gritty realism. Danny Boyle's 2002 masterpiece earned over $85 million on a modest budget, not just because of the infected or the scares, but because it was deeply personal. Audiences followed Jim's bewildering and terrifying journey through an empty London, with the horror growing from isolation, not spectacle. But when 28 Weeks Later arrived, that human intimacy was lost in a sea of Hollywood-style chaos. Now, 28 Years Later promises to restore what made the original so iconic, a focus on character over carnage. Danny Boyle's return signals a shift back to minimalism, grounded storytelling, claustrophobic tension, and emotional depth. Where 28 Weeks Later expanded the scale with military forces and aerial shots, it forgot the power of a single man walking alone across Westminster Bridge. That quiet apocalypse was the franchise's true soul. Boyle's original used DV cameras and near-empty streets to put us inside the collapse, making the horror feel disturbingly real. 28 Years Later is expected to recapture that stripped-down realism with a fresh,